The era of untouchable mediators in Nigeria's security crisis has faced its most significant challenge yet, as the Department of State Services officially moved to take Sheikh Ahmad Gumi into custody at his Kaduna residence this Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. This high-stakes operation is the culmination of a massive strategic pivot by the federal government, which has spent the early months of this year tightening the noose around individuals who maintain unauthorized back-channel communications with bandit groups. Unlike the many instances in the past where the cleric was merely invited for a few hours of conversation or an interactive session at the DSS headquarters, this morning's raid was described by eyewitnesses as a decisive and heavily coordinated action involving multiple tactical units. The deployment suggests that the intelligence community has transitioned from a phase of observation to one of active prosecution under the new national security directives that treat the facilitation of criminal networks with the same gravity as the crimes themselves. For years, the public has debated the fine line between Gumi's self-styled forest diplomacy and the potential enabling of insurgents, but as of today, the state has clearly decided that his time as a self-appointed negotiator is over. The shift in the government's stance is directly linked to the friend of a thief policy championed by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, which has redefined the legal landscape for those who provide moral or logistical cover for the bandits terrorizing the Northwest. In the weeks leading up to this arrest, the military high command had repeatedly warned that any private citizen entering the forest to speak with proscribed terrorists without state clearance would be viewed as a threat to national security. The DSS is reportedly investigating fresh evidence that suggests the lines between mediation and active cooperation have become dangerously blurred, with a focus on how these forest meetings may have influenced ransom negotiations and the strategic movements of bandit cells. This is a dramatic departure from the administration's previous patience, signaling that the federal government is no longer willing to tolerate any shadow authority that claims to have better access to criminal elements than the state's own intelligence apparatus. Tracking these explosive security developments and providing you with the unfiltered truth about the crackdown on influential figures requires an immense amount of daily dedication and investigative research. If you value this kind of straight-to-the-point, high-stakes reporting that refuses to back down from the hard facts of our national security, please take a moment right now to hit the like button on this video. Liking the content is the single most effective way to help the YouTube algorithm push this vital message of accountability and law and order to millions of other Nigerians who are praying for a safer country. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell immediately so you never miss a single update as we track the legal proceedings following this high-profile detention. Your incredible support is the engine that allows this independent newsroom to stay ahead of the curve and deliver these critical briefings directly to your screen with absolute precision and journalistic integrity. By subscribing, you become a part of a community that demands transparency and refuses to let the true state of our security be buried by the daily news cycle. The legal repercussions for the cleric could be severe as the Ministry of Justice begins to align with the DSS to prepare a case based on the 2022 Terrorism Prevention Act. This specific law gives the state wide-ranging powers to detain and prosecute anyone suspected of aiding or providing a platform for designated terrorist groups. The atmosphere in Kaduna remains incredibly tense as security forces have cordoned off the streets leading to the cleric's home to prevent any spontaneous protests or gatherings by his followers. This move is seen as a test of the government's resolve to apply the law equally, regardless of an individual's religious or social status. Many Nigerians are now waiting to see if this arrest will lead to a trial that finally uncovers the intricate logistics and funding networks that have allowed banditry to persist for so long, or if the diplomatic pressure from regional leaders will again lead to a quiet release. However, the sheer scale of today's operation suggests that the federal government is prepared for a long and public legal battle to prove that the state is the only legitimate mediator in matters of national security. This entire situation brings us to a very deep and necessary discussion about the balance between religious leadership and national laws. When a figure as prominent as Sheikh Gumi is arrested after years of claiming he was only trying to find a peaceful way out of the crisis, do you believe the government is finally doing the right thing by enforcing a single standard of justice, or do you think his arrest might close off the only channel for dialogue with the bandits? Furthermore, given the history of previous invitations that resulted in no charges, do you think the DSS should televise the evidence they have gathered to maintain public trust in this crackdown? I am genuinely eager to read your personal, honest, and detailed perspectives on this massive security breakthrough. Please go straight down to the comment section right now and share your thoughts on whether you think the no-mercy approach to bandit facilitators will finally bring the peace we have been waiting for. Your voice is a critical part of this national conversation about justice, security, and the future of law and order in Nigeria.